Good morning. Guess what? There is no theme song today. Yeah, some of you guys would like that. I know some people are not exactly fond of having to sit through that 1 minute song. But anyway, today is about how thankful I am to have this podcast. And I'm going to be reaching out about the new endeavor I'm trying to do. As you guys already know, in September through November of last year, I had advertisements on my podcast. I experimented with that. I was making about $15 a month, which is just enough to pay for the service. But I did get a few people who were upset about the advertisements, and I kind of did see that the growth was stopping in terms of how much it was growing before compared to after the advertisements. So I decided to turn it off, and I think I got a lot of good comments about that. And I think it's good. You know, people deserve education without advertisements. I think that's a good thing. I still have costs associated with the podcast and ambitions I want to do to make it more helpful and develop develop a website to have information posted and all those types of things. I also want to, I might want to replace some equipment. Like, for example, by the way, this is the first time acknowledging it officially on my podcast. I've done it on interviews, but let me tell you this. There's a person here that's particularly the most responsible for my podcast. That guy's name is Terry Furton. Terry Furton. He's a honorary Roseville Wrecking Ball over here. He's from East Point, Michigan. He's our next door neighbor. I'd say that that's our sister city within our branch. East Point is basically identical to Roseville, almost. A little bit more closer to Detroit, but it's a great place, a great guy. And one day we were talking, he said, you should have a podcast. He's a postal podcast person. Like, he just listens to all of them. He said, Josh, you should have a podcast. And I said, you know what? It'd be great, but I don't have a lot of money and time. You know, I file so many grievances. But he said, yeah, the way you teach, you do great on that podcast. And I said, okay, well, he said, well, why won't I buy you a microphone? And he goes and tries to buy me. I think he wanted to buy me like some $60 microphone or something. I can't remember. I said, no, because I came from a background of music. And I know that condensers are not expensive equipment. You know, it's kind of like TVs. They used to be expensive when they first came out, but they've been out for so long. You could buy a good condenser from China for like $3. So I told them, get me this $16 one. This one looks good. And so that the rest was history. He bought me that microphone. Well, then I was obligated to make a podcast because, you know, I had already promised him, and I don't go back on my word. He might tell you I do sometimes. So I don't. I try not to. I do the best I can to be as honest and have as much integrity as I could. And so I made the podcast, and I've loved it ever since. I think it's a great thing. I'm glad that so many people find it helpful to them. And that's kind of what this is about. Step B representative that I talk to a lot, he used to run a podcast, and he also listens to podcasts, and he said, hey, why don't you do this model? Because I've had people tell me, why don't you ask for donations so you can pay for this stuff? Of course not. I'm not going to do something like a GoFundMe. But I know this is not that different, but he said, why don't you do what these guys do and just ask people to give the amount that they think is equivalent to the information you provide to them. Like, if they think your podcast is worth $1, then they can give you $1. If they think your podcast is worth $50, they can give you $50. And I thought that was a fantastic idea. I know many, 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 many people will not be able to afford this, and many people will not want to afford this, and that is fine. You know, I'm not asking for everyone to pay money. And I'm not trying to sit here to gatekeep education either. So I'm not going to put content behind this. But if you haven't figured it out yet, I opened a Patreon. And I did make a post about this on Facebook, but not everyone looks at my Facebook. But yes, I got a Patreon That is a website where you can pay monthly to content creators. And normally that monthly payment would result in unlocking of a certain tier of content or something. If I put anything behind that wall of payments, it's absolutely not going to be education. It'll be something fun, like behind the scenes stuff. But for the most part, I'm just going to keep it content free. And if you'd like to donate to the show, then you can donate anywhere from $1 to $50. And I got it set up. I'm going to have the link in the description. And, I intend to recognize those who donate on future episodes. I might not do it right away, because if there's one guy, it might look kind of funny, like, hey, the one guy who gives me something, But if that's the case, I will end up eventually just saying, hey, thanks to that one guy. But, it's not something that I expect. I'm just trying to do things like that microphone that Terry got me. One day I put it in my drawer, the same drawer I always keep it in. I must have accidentally clamped the input cord thing into the drawer. It's a metal drawer, because the next time I got the microphone out, the input jack was bent. And those things shouldn't be bent, but it's been working anyway. But one day, that input jack is going to stay into the hole that it plugs into. Like when I pull it out, it's going to stay in there, because one day it's going to finally break off. Then I'm not going to have a microphone. So things like that, I got to make sure to upkeep the maintenance of the equipment. I got to make sure to pay for the service. It's $14 a month. I got to make sure to start a website, because posting things on Facebook, I got tons of comments. People saying, hey, I don't have a Facebook. Can you send this to me? I don't have a Facebook. Can you send this to me? Or I don't want to have to, trudge through 40 pages of your posts to find episode 9's reference. Can you start a website? And I'd love to start a website, but websites cost money. So if this thing is successful, then the show can be successful. And that's what this is about. And, I feel bad asking for money entirely. I hate doing this shit. I feel like sometimes it feels unnecessary, and maybe it is. But I'm going to let the listeners decide what they want to do. Because if they think, yes, I like the show, but it's unnecessary to donate, I'd rather keep it in the same form that it is today, well then, yeah, that's what we're going to get. It's kind of like the will of the membership. And one thing I want to say before I let you go today, I am incredibly grateful to all you listeners for being the change that you'd like to see in your installations and for bettering yourselves through education. And I am immensely flattered that you take your time out of your day to allow me to be that channel for you. This is bigger than I'd ever imagine. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you, regardless of whether or not you subscribe. Subscribe to the Patreon. I'm grateful even if you don't subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the time that you spend day in and day out listening to my episodes. I see it. It feels great. I don't know how to describe it. And I get so many calls. So many calls. In fact, let me pull out my phone number. I got to pull up my app real quick. I got a new phone number. I'm trying to still port the old one, 586-209-1902, but in the meantime, I do have a new phone number. Let's see. Sorry about the wait. All right, so that new phone number is 586-227-7918. If you don't reach me on my old number, that's 586-227-7918. All right? So that's my new and updated phone number. I'm hoping to have two phone numbers on one device, or at least to port my old one to replace the new one. But if you need to reach me and my old phone number's not working, make sure to reach me on that new one. Thank you for everything, guys. And, I really appreciate you. I hope you have a good day today. And if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, anywhere between $1 to $50 per month, and you can cancel at any time, you can click the link in the description. I'm going to link it in the description. All right? Take care, guys. Be safe out there.